All right, Ben McKee. Oh, boy. Woo! Lord, Lord, Lord. That was a test this morning. Testing my patience and my nerves this morning, Ben McKee. But we passed it, man. We good to go. Wow. So got everything handled with Comcast. Actually, man, the guy who helped me, he was awesome, man. Appreciate that. But not the funnest experience there. But we back, and we're going to give you what you signed up for with this program. And we understand how important today is for a lot of people who are believers in this show, that wait to listen to this show after a game like Saturday. We know you've been waiting on this show and our opinions, and not going to shortchange you just because Comcast had their issues. But we fixed that. We're good to go, and we're going to keep rolling, man. I got Josh and Swain at 12 o'clock. I'm going to give y'all what you signed up for. I owe that to you. And so we're going to do that, Ben. And if Ben has to run, we still going to go. So, Ben, if you're good, let's continue. I know we were talking about, Joe Milton and all that good stuff, operation of the offense. And I think it's time to kind of transition to what everyone has kind of been talking about. It's kind of the elephant in the room. I think it's not just Tennessee fans that do this. I think every football fan base does this when the quarterback is not operating as you think they should. I think the automatic response from most of the fans is change the quarterback. Change the quarterback. Change the quarterback. We've done this long enough. We've experienced this before at Tennessee with quarterback play. To know that this is an ongoing conversation right now within certain segments of the fan base. Ben, when you are seeing some of the comments about changing the quarterback and going to Nico, what are your thoughts? I'll let you go and I'll share mine.
I think that those thoughts are premature. I think it is too early to make that decision with Joe Milton. And as I was saying before Comcast rudely interrupted, I feel like Joe is physically playing the position well right now. I don't think he's playing the position well mentally. Just however you want to slice it up, the offense just has not been running efficiently this season, and the offense looks much different than it has the past two seasons under Josh Heupel. And I'm not at all saying that it's all on Joe Milton, but at the end of the day, he is the conductor. He is the one that makes it go, and ultimately he has full responsibility of the offense, and it just looks different. So I wonder how he is operating the offense in the minds of the coaches. Obviously, they're going to say some things publicly, but I thought Josh Heupel alluded to what I am saying yesterday in his press conference by saying that Joe is doing some good things and he's making good decisions. Here's the exact answer instead of me trying to paraphrase. There's some real positives. The efficiency, the communication, handling all that, we have to be better. And that's kind of my point. And he was asked directly, how would you assess Joe Milton's performance after you went back and watched the tape? Said there were some positives, and then said the efficiency, the communication, handling all of that, we have to get better. And he also threw in there that the guys up front have to be better, skill guys have to be better. Later on, he made a comment about Joe's accuracy needing to continue to improve.
Mm-hmm.
Also said that receivers being exact in their routes also need to improve. So, not at all trying to put all the blame on Joe, but that is where I do have my concerns with Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Is, to use Heupel's words, the efficiency, the communication, handling all of those things that we saw Hendon Hooker handle at a very, very, very high level,
Thank you.
and was probably Hendon's best skill trait, in my opinion. Not to take away his ability as simply a football player, but I thought the IQ. I thought that was the best part of Hendon's game, and I also I wonder how Joe's teammates are responding to him. And I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to make it something that it's not, or insinuate things that I'm not trying to insinuate. But I do wonder if how loosey goosey Joe is at times, how his teammates respond to that.
I'm glad you said what you said. You mentioned. I was waiting for you to mention Hendon Hooker because that's who Joe's compared to. That's who has been the quarterback here at Tennessee since Josh Heupel's been here. Is Hendon Hooker. So we're comparing Joe to Hendon Hooker. Hendon was great. Hendon was a Heisman Trophy front runner at one point. Would have been in New York if it wasn't for his injury. So we're comparing Joe to Hendon. Fair or unfair, that's what it is. I think that's some of it. I do think Joe has not been as good as he needs to be at running the offense. I think that's a fair statement to make. 100%, man. 100%. I agree with you about the premature talks of going with a different quarterback. And here's why, folks. And I'll be honest, I don't really care who the quarterback is. I just want to win. I don't care who the quarterback is. But there's been some talk, and the talk has just been put Nico in, put Nico in, put Nico in, put Nico in. And I just want to give you something to think about. Because I've been through this as a player. Like, I've been through quarterback changes as a player when I was a wide receiver. I've seen this play out doing what I do now multiple times under multiple coaches. Question that I have for you. If you put Nico in, do you think the offense will run efficiently and that much better right then? And don't say, well, you don't know unless you put him in the game. Guys, you got to do it in practice. You got to do it in practice. So if you don't feel like everything around Joe is in place and everybody's doing their job around Joe, and the quarterback is the only position that's holding this offense back, why do you think changing the quarterback is going to give you different results? Number one. Number two, you want to put Nico back there behind this offensive line?
My only thought, the only positive that I think possibly putting Nico in, and again, I'm not at all making this move unless things really get out of hand against South Carolina and Texas A&M, and then even with that, do you want Nico's first start to be against Alabama in Tuscaloosa in Bryant-Denny Stadium? Maybe after you watched Alabama pee down their leg against USF over the weekend and play with zero effort, because they did not like the change at quarterback that Nick Saban decided to make. But I do think that maybe Nico could create more plays for the offense by getting out of the pocket, extending plays, throwing on the run. Granted, we have not seen him do it in a game. I recognize that, but it does feel like that is something that is missing in this offense right now. That it became a luxury to have with Hendon the last year and a half. His ability to extend plays, get down the field as a runner, or also get out of the pocket and throw on the run. Vince Ferrara, your coworker over there at the Animal, he mentioned yesterday, I believe. I believe I'm getting this stat exactly correct, but Joe has not thrown a touchdown while out of the pocket and kind of extending a play on the run. And not that is a necessity, but again, I do think that's something that helped Tennessee's offense the last year and a half with Hendon. And it seems like that's something that Nico could provide. But also on the flip side of that, I think that would be the positive of Nico. On the flip side, I think the decision making that Josh Heupel continues to praise Joe Milton for, you're not going to get that consistent decision making that Joe is providing. I mean, he finally has an interception at Tennessee. He's not putting the ball at risk when he is throwing the football and throwing it into heavy coverage or something along those lines. That's typically where a freshman does struggle.
Are you going to put Nico back in this offensive line? Behind this offensive line is a question. You mentioned being able to curate and go on a run. Well, are you prepared every passing play to put Nico on the run? And these are just questions that I feel like you have to ask yourself. From a management of the offense standpoint, because everyone thinks it's just snapping the football, handing it off, or just throwing it. But they are checks at the line of scrimmage that has to be made based on what the defense is doing. Is Nico ready to do that? Is Nico ready to change the play? Is he ready to change it from a run to a pass, or from a pass to a run based on the amount of players in the box defensively? If you make a change, you do understand you can't just go back to Joe.
You can't pull a Saban.
You can't go back and forth. Like, once you make a change, the change has to be for the rest of the season. So, is it too early to make a change? Assuming that you're going to get more offensive production, even though it has started with the offensive line? I'm not saying people are wrong for wanting Nico. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there are some questions you have to ask yourself. I don't think it's time to do that. But I understand that most Tennessee fans and most college football fans, they don't have the experience that I have going through it as a player with coaching changes, quarterback changes, and seeing it how I see it now. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and go, you're bad, you're wrong, you're not a VFL, you're not a real fan for wanting better play offensively, because some people just point at the quarterback. And I'm here to tell you that it's more than the quarterback, that the quarterback is not even top 3 reasons why we didn't win that game on Saturday. Here's something that is worth monitoring. And Ben, you mentioned it at the end of your point. This is worth monitoring, because I went through this as a receiver. And this is why you have to have a pulse of your football team. In 2005, we elected not to name Rick Clausen the starting quarterback to start the season, although it was obvious he should have been the starter, because the offense responded to him better than any other quarterback during that competition, during fall camp. It was obvious who physically was better, but it was blatantly obvious who the offense responded to, who the team responded to. And if you are the coach, you cannot deny it. You cannot ignore it. My point is, Joe needs to do a really good job of making sure that his team is still responding to him. His offense is still responding to him. He's leading the right way. Not only are you saying the right things, but more importantly, you're doing the right things. You're backing up what you're saying. Because the thing about Hendon, and Hendon was really good with his legs and he was accurate and all that good stuff. But Hendon's greatest attribute was that people followed Hendon. People believed in Hendon. People rode for Hendon. That was Hendon's biggest trait here in Tennessee, was his leadership and his ability to lead. Not by just talking about it, but by doing it, living in the complex. And I'm saying all these things about Hendon, not to say that Joe doesn't do those things or he's whatever. Like, I'm just letting you know what it means to have your teammates follow you. I think the moment where the team is not responding to a quarterback and you're not having the results on offense because of that player, while everything else on offense is operating, that's when you got to make a serious decision about making a change. And I don't think we're there yet.
No.
I don't think we're there yet.
And no, I completely agree. And I know I kind of spoke about Nico there at length for a moment, and that's not to suggest that I am entertaining the idea. I just do think that is something that this Tennessee offense right now is missing that it had the last year and a half under Hendon, since Hendon became the starting quarterback. Was that
Joe doesn't have that skill set. Like, he's not really fleet of foot horizontally. He's not quick like that in the pocket. And that's okay. But
right.
That's not him. When he gets going, he can outrun people, but being really quick in the pocket, making guys miss, being real sudden, like how Dobbs was, Hendon was, like, that's not Joe's game. And that's okay. That just means that he has to be a quick decision maker. He has to have protection up front, and guys need to be in the right place at the right time when he's ready to throw it. Like, that just means other things have to be, in place. It's hard to find dudes like Hendon. And Nico could be Hendon physically, even better. He's actually more gifted physically than Hendon at this stage of his career. But mentally, I don't know if Nico was ready right now. And that's why I wouldn't be there if I was Josh Heupel. I just think it's way too early.
And also, to add one little quick point on to what you're saying about extending plays, I also don't think Joe necessarily throws well while on the run, making those off-platform throws. At least we haven't really seen him do it at a high level or even a consistent level.
That throw he made to Dante Thornton last weekend was pretty dang accurate.
Yeah, but then he also has maybe the better way to phrase it is he doesn't do it well consistently, because he also had Brew in the end zone and completely misfired in that game as well.
That's fine.
So I'm not considering making a change until I see Joe throwing the football like Kenny Pickett was last night on Monday Night Football, to where he is staring down receivers and throwing it into double and triple coverage and throwing it right to guys and just making decisions and making throws that are just totally inexcusable. Also, like Jalen Milroe. I said it earlier about how Alabama did not respond well to Jalen Milroe being benched, and I was kind of surprised how quickly they pulled the trigger on Jalen. But they pulled the trigger on Jalen, which it's pretty clear now, in my opinion, that Jalen is the best quarterback in that room right now, the best man for the job at the moment. But the reason he got pulled is because of those 2 interceptions against Texas were just absolutely awful. So where, I mean, how do you not see the linebacker? He's sitting there right in front of your intended target, and you just throw the football right to him. I mean, it's inexcusable at any level of football, even in high school. So until Joe starts doing things like that, to where he is staring down receivers, throwing it right to a linebacker that's clearly in front of the intended target, or throwing into double, triple coverage consistently, putting the ball at risk, making turnover worthy throws. You're not going to see, I don't think, Heupel and the coaching staff make a change, and that is something that typically a freshman doesn't have. So I'm not making a decision to change quarterbacks until I see them do that.
Yeah,
and I know that the coaching staff isn't going to do it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm going to get to the phones. Apologize for the hold there. Good morning. It's still morning.
Good morning.
What's up? Who we have the pleasure of speaking to?
Dave Tona.
Dave Tona. What's up?
What's going on? Been a long time.
Yeah, man. Hope you're well, man. What you got on your mind this morning?
Oh, man. It's first of all, I want to say go Steelers. Secondly, man, I'll tell you what was supposed to be the strengths of this year's team? I am so tired of us making Florida look better than they are. Taking some heat down here, fellas.
Yep. I know you are. All the Tennessee fans in Florida are.
So what was supposed to be our strength? Because I don't see it.
You're supposed to have experience and depth at wide receiver. You're supposed to have a quarterback that returns with a lot of experience, that's coming off a really good performance in the Orange Bowl. You're supposed to have more depth at the defensive line and more talent, more depth and talent at linebacker, and more depth and talent in the secondary. I think those were the highlights, strengths. There was questions at certain positions, like there are with any team, when you have new faces, things like that. So, tackles were questioned. Guard was a question because you had to replace Ron Carvin. Running back group, more experience, more talent. So, there was a lot of strengths coming in to this football season, Dave Tona.
Our number one thing that we need to fix currently is at the offensive line.
Correct. Number one.
That's what I see.
And I think there's some hope there, Dave Tona, and I appreciate the phone call. I know Swain does as well. It's really, really good to hear from you. Hope you and yours are doing well. But I do think if we're going to sprinkle some optimism in here, Swain, with the offensive line, Saturday was ugly any way you slice it. Every man up front just was really, really poor, especially at left guard, center, and right tackle, in my opinion. And Spraggins and Campbell didn't necessarily play to the level that I thought that they're capable of as well. But on the bright side, you were missing Cooper and you were missing Mincy, and maybe that can give a boost going forward when they get back. Cooper, you certainly know that will be a boost once you get him back. You'd like to think Mincy would be a boost, but he's got to quit being a knucklehead. I don't know other way to.
Don't mention Mincy.
What's that?
Don't mention Mincy, please.
I get it, but Crawford's not the answer at right tackle, which is why I am mentioning Mincy. I like Jeremiah Crawford, the person, and the way he handles his business throughout the week, but in terms of athleticism and ceiling, Mincy, if the offensive line is going to reach its ceiling, it needs Mincy to. I realize it would be a complete 180 for how he's acting and whatnot, but Tennessee's offensive line hitting its ceiling would be with Mincy at right tackle. Do I have a ton of faith in it working out this way? No.
So why mention him? Yeah, why mention him? Because you know it ain't gonna happen.
He was a knucklehead last year, and they still got something out of him.
He was rotating in with Crawford last year.
Crawford was beat at birth several times on Saturday night, and I'm really not trying to harp on Crawford. It just wasn't him up front.
No,
but
it wasn't. But here's
you'd like to see Mincy there.
Here's what I'm saying. Crawford had his up and down moments last year. Had a great moment against Alabama, the biggest game of the year. when you hear from Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl, a scout through and through, and preseason he's talking about seniors that he has his eye on, and he mentions Gerald Mincy, that means that Mincy physically has the tools to play at the next level. Mincy should have been the starter the whole time last year. Mincy is the reason why he wasn't the starter the whole time last year. This year, a Thursday before the Florida game. See, everyone's looking at, possession, that's silly. It should be legal, whatever. Like, that's okay, cool. I agree. Like, make it all legal. Make weed legal, whatever. It's Florida week. It's Thursday. Why are you even out in that position? Where's the focus? Where's the focus? Where's the unselfishness? Where's the buy-in? Why are you putting yourself in that position to be a distraction? So, if the offensive line is playing that poorly and he's allowed to travel to Gainesville and we won't even put him in at tackle when the offensive line has issues, that should tell you something. So I'm not counting on Gerald Mincy at all. I'm just not. I'm not saying that you're wrong for mentioning him. I'm just saying I wouldn't mention him, and I'm not counting on him until there's a complete 180. And Ben, you just said it. You're not really confident that you're going to see that. So, I'm based on Thursday. It's a Florida game. You transfer from Florida. Why?
I guess best case scenario, it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Because you just mentioned it. He's a Florida transfer, and he's dapping everybody up on the sideline from people he knew while he was at Florida. I'm sure it's got to be embarrassing. At least you would hope that it's embarrassing to be in the news the last 48 hours or so. Maybe it can serve as a wake-up call, because him being a knucklehead last year and to start this year was kind of behind the scenes stuff and not really out there publicly. Maybe now that it is out there publicly, it's a wake-up call.
Now he's supposed to wake up?
I'm just trying to be optimistic.
I know. I'm just saying, like, you got to
need him
playing in front of you that physically is not better than you, but this is supposed to be the wake-up call. Like, the fact that he's been playing over you for the last year and 3 games, dude, that should have been a wake-up call. I mean, that's all I'm saying. And, like, I didn't lead the show with Gerald Mincy, but it's brought up, the offensive line's brought up, and the fact that he could be a help, and I'm just, like, I'm just not going to buy into it. Like, Crawford just has to play better. He had a bad game. He had a terrible bad game. So he has to play better, and Gerald Mincy would have to absolutely shock me and others by pulling a 180 to be someone that can be depended on, because on Thursday night, before the biggest game of the year, he can't be counted on. So how am I supposed to count on you in any other situation? You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in that situation. So that's how I feel about that, man. You're more optimistic than me on that one, Ben.
Well, I'm trying. It's more of me trying to think of solutions for how the offensive line can get better.
I think Cooper coming back is worthy of mentioning as something positive to look at.
Yeah, the Tennessee has some offensive linemen right now, some older guys that they're just not SEC offensive linemen, and there's quite a bit of proof that they're not SEC offensive linemen at this point in their career, and that there aren't many solutions either. The young guys that they've brought in the last 2 years,
not right now,
they don't seem to be ready yet, and I understand it's a position you got to be patient with. It's a developmental position, but right now they've got to get better in a hurry, or else this season is not going to end up anywhere close to what a lot of people thought it would be going into the season.
Yeah, five linemen in 2022 class, and none of them are ready to go right now. So
there's like only one of them that, I mean, they brought in almost between the last two classes, probably almost 10 guys, and like one guy is really the only one that you hear somewhat mentioned, and that's Addison Nichols. I mean, that's again, I realize you got to kind of be patient with that position. It's developmental, but that unit, that room has to grow up quick, fast, and in a hurry, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the phones. Then we'll have to take a quick break. Good morning. Who do we have with us?
When Ben mentioned beat at birth, I thought he was referring to Kamal Hadden. But anyway. Guys, I don't care if you put Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady back there behind that line. You put Nico out there, he's going to get killed. So to me, until Cooper comes back, Nico's not even on the table.
Did y'all know Nico got banged up a little bit in the Virginia game, and there was a question about him being available in the Austin Peay game?
Yep.
And no one saw him get hurt. And we just want to throw him back there for a 60-minute football game behind this offense line right now? No.
Nope. And as far as Milton goes, Milton has always had the habit when he's under stress that he lets his physical talent take over. But the fact of the matter is that, and you can even see it in parts of the Orange Bowl, Milton is about a step or two behind in his awareness. You know, because we're so used to Hendon Hooker thinking quickly, having the awareness, and Milton's he's just not quite there. Because I can't help but wonder if some of those throws where it looks like the receivers run the route wrong, if he's just a little bit behind on his timing.
And what's important in this offense?
Timing.
Well,
timing and awareness.
Yep, making quick decisions. And kind of like I was talking about earlier with the tempo, I do think part of it is obviously the offensive line, like Swain talked about last week in conjunction with being able to push the football down the field. But I also think part of it is maybe the coaching staff not having all of the trust in Joe Milton to handle himself getting to the line of scrimmage, recognizing what the defense is doing, and then running the play that they want to run based off of what the defense is doing. I think that's why you've seen the tempo not be used as much, at least a part of it.
You got a dude playing center that never snapped the football in his entire life before the Virginia game. That has something to do with it, too.
Yep. Guys, before I go, hey, Swain, when you ran that Jeep the other day, in addition to your driver's license, did you have to hand in your man card? See you, boys!
You're terrible, Boston. You're terrible. 865-255-03 is our telephone number. We'll get to the Beatty Chevrolet text box when we come back from break. A lot of off-schedule events happening with the internet going out, but we all set, and we're going to finish the show strong. So don't go anywhere. Our telephone number is 865-255-03. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247 with us, and I am Jason Swain, live here from the Low T Center studio. Be right back.
Event family, it's great to be on board. This is Taylor Hawkins with Modern Woodman Fraternal Financial, and I have one question for you. When was the last time you have slowed down and evaluated your financial situation? Just like the Vols, a great game plan leads to victory. Let us help you achieve your financial goals with a custom-made game plan. No matter what stage of life you're in, protecting your family and hard-earned money is important. So let one of our local and trusted financial professionals secure your future by visiting visiting one of our 10 branch offices across Tennessee, or give us a call locally at 865-312-5638. And remember, go Vols.
Registered representative and investment advisor, representative offering securities and advisory services through NWA Financial Services, Inc., a wholly owned subsidiary of Modern Woodmen of America, member FINCRA, SIPC.
Hey there, Swain Event fam. If you're currently renting and just about priced out of your place, give me a call. Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty at 865-257-7897. You may be able to buy a home and have monthly payments less than your rent. And wouldn't you rather pay your own mortgage than someone else's? Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's all sides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
We're here with Dr. Michael Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine to discuss stem cell treatment and PRP. If you have orthopedic injuries, you should give them a call.
That's right, Jason. We specialize in regenerative non-surgical orthopedics. So we treat damaged tendons, ligaments, and joints by using ultrasound-guided injections with stem cells or PRP. And this form of treatment actually stimulates the body's own reparative process and allows for healing of the damaged tissue.
So, Doc, what makes your training different than others?
Well, Jason, I've been practicing in Knoxville for 26 years, and I'm certified in interventional regenerative orthopedic medicine through the American Academy of Orthopedic Medicine. At Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, I'm the one doing the procedure, and we're using your own bone marrow stem cells or PRP. So in other words, it comes from you and it goes back to you. So you know exactly what you're getting and know exactly the level of training involved.
Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, trsportsmedicine.com. East Tennessee's leader in PRP and stem cell therapy.
The conversation doesn't stop when the show is over. Follow the Swain Event on Twitter and like the show on Facebook.
All right, we're going to hit the text box. Do some rapid fire. BeattyChevrolet.com is the website. Pre-owned trucks, pre-owned SUVs, excuse me. BeattyChevrolet.com. All right, here we go. Let's get on down here to the nitty gritty. Earlier in the show, my goodness, a lot of stuff on here today. All right, Mississippi Falls says good morning from Baldwin, Mississippi. As concerned as I was about this year's offensive line, I'm even more concerned about it the next couple of years. I mean, we lose, 3 or 4 guys off this year's offensive line, and it doesn't seem like our young guys are ready. Maybe they will be next year. We have Bennett Warren and Gage Ginther, but seems like they're going to have to hit the portal pretty hard. Absolutely. We'll have to hit the portal hard. These guys will have to grow up. Nichols, Reddick, Herron, Clipper, Grant, guys that we signed, they'll have to. If they're still here, we gotta grow up. Let's see here. Oh, congratulations to Ben and his wife. Oh, Ben, you made it public?
My wife did.
Oh, okay. I was waiting. I was wondering. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Ben's about to be
I appreciate it.
a peppy again, and Knox is about to be a big brother. So congratulations to Ben.
March will be a fun month.
Right about that. Steph says, Jay, how do you give the staff credit when our guys couldn't catch things that I could have caught? What do you mean, Steph? Brew in the postgame, I interviewed Brew in the postgame. I mean, I asked him to assess his play. I thought he played well, tough as nails. He wanted it. He said the slant is a pass he should have caught. He should have made that play. He had a false start too, which you never should have that as a receiver. But outside of that, I thought Brew played like a possessed grown man out there. Brew is a dog. And we need more of those. We need more. We need more dogs. D. Cody says, why did Tim Banks not blitz as much? Are we afraid to play man against Florida? We have that kid all day to get comfortable and deliver the ball. Just frustrating. Yeah, like when you play man, that means you're putting your corners on the island. So I don't know if there's a lot of confidence in our corners to play man to man or not, but we got to be able to play man to man. So it needs to be an open tryout, because we can't just sit back and just let guys pick us apart. They converted way too many third downs. We show poor IQ and some scramble situations in the secondary, just giving them layups. No, can't happen. So if that continues, you got to play some other people. Chip Payne says, I'm not a football player nor a parent, and I stayed off social media on Sunday. I didn't want to see all that negativity. I feel bad enough. Yep. I stayed off too. And if you're a player, I don't know why the hell you're on social media after how some of these guys played. That's the last place you should be. You should be in the film room or taking a break from football for a couple hours, but it should be on social media because you know what's going to be on there.
You know what I don't understand quickly is how a good chunk of people went from celebrating how great of a coach Josh Heupel is and being super happy about everything that took place last year and glorifying how great of a quarterback developer he is and how great of an offensive mind he is. And none of that excuses him from, feedback or criticism just because you've done something in the past. But it's like one game, all that goes out the window. And like, I understand being frustrated and upset. It was an ugly performance on Saturday, but how do you go from one extreme to the other extreme? That to me is what doesn't make sense to me.
No, it don't make sense to me either at all. Clay says, is it possible for us to do what we did with Dobb, roll Joe outside the pocket to give him some more time to throw? During the game, it felt like a bad Joe performance, but dang, he had no time. I don't think Patrick Mahomes would have gotten the ball out with our offensive line. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something you need to look at if you're Josh Heupel is getting Joe more on the run and moving the pocket. That's something you could do to help if the offensive line is struggling to protect and drop back passing situations. Joe Outlaw, when I asked, okay, what plays are we running with the offensive line not protecting? More quick slants, more draw plays. Oh, we ran a draw with 5 dudes in the box, and we had 6 to block those 5 and didn't get anything but a yard and a half. So more quick slants? All right, cool. That's fine. But you do understand we're seeing some too high. They're sitting on things. If they play cover 2, the quick slants are a little different than throwing slants versus man-to-man. But I'm all for running quick slants. We just got to make sure we run them the right way, and we understand the difference between running them versus zone and man. All 23 says screen and not bubble receiver screen, traditional running back screens. Not sure if I've seen Hype run one ever. Maybe he has, and I've missed it. Yeah, you probably missed it, but I think that's a really good idea to run more running back screens, for sure. Yeah, I think that will help the offensive line. I think, unfortunately, keeping a tight end and in instead of on the route could help the offensive line. Using the running back chip can be too. But what about the pressure in the interior? I don't know what you do when you can't block and protect from guard to guard. You got to fix that for sure. Ronnie Nostell, I know for a fact that Joe didn't catch any rabbits. He's not committed to turning the ball over. Do you think it's because he's scared of getting hurt and having Nico inserted to never get to play again? I do think Joe ran a little timid. And I don't know if it's uncertainty of blocks or what. I don't know. I don't know that. But I've never been a quarterback in the pocket with my health being in question because guys in front of me are not doing their job the way they should be. So I think any quarterback that's in the pocket and is a little shaky about the protection, it's going to affect how they play. It's going to affect how they run, maybe how they sit in the pocket. Now, Joe was willing to sit in the pocket and take a hit, and that's something no one has talked about because there's quarterbacks that will not take a hit to deliver the ball, and Joe was willing to take hits to deliver the football. He was willing to do that, so we gotta get better. Romeo's two-step juke was so beautiful. Are we talking about the release? Is that what we're talking about?
I assume so.
Yeah, it was a beautiful release. It was clinic worthy. It was clinic worthy. It was clinic worthy, 100%. Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday. Tennessee is playing a team that's better than Austin Peay. They're playing a team that may or may not. Well, yeah, they're better than Virginia. Tennessee is playing a team that's better than Virginia, better than Austin Peay. Obviously, won't be better than Florida, but it is an opportunity to fix some issues. And the eye in the sky don't lie. If effort's an issue, if you're not locked in, you're not focused, you're not handling your business, there's going to be people who know. And so you're playing in front of your home crowd. This is an opportunity for the coaches to play other guys that didn't do the job that they're supposed to do on Saturday. Let's see if we see more young players and new faces out there on offense and defense. I think that is something to really, really pay close attention to. If you are someone that mentally, emotionally, you're carrying weight, you're thinking about maybe getting a therapist, seeing a therapist, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. And Knoxville is so blessed to have a business that's just opened up a couple weeks ago, Mind Body Wellness. They offer effective mental health treatment in an outpatient setting. You can go to their website at mindbodyknoxville.com. They are accessible, they are affordable, they are available. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to see a therapist. The stigma has been just kicked out the window over the last decade and a half. You hear mental health being talked about more and more and more, and it's real. It's important. It's just as important, if not more important, than your physical health. So, mindbodyknoxville.com to schedule a mental wellness assessment. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it today if you know this is a step that you need to take. All right, Ben. Thursday. We'll do it again.
Sounds good. I'm going to go talk to Tim Banks and Joey Halsley.
We'll do it better. We will do it better. For Ben McKee, I am Jason Swain. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Also, one quick last point. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Right now, half off month at Hiller. So tune-ups are 50% off. Make sure you go to their website. Hiller's making it easier than ever to tackle those necessary home replacements. 50% off select add-on items. More details, go to their website, happyhiller.com. Swain Events, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Peace, much love. We are out.